Let me check it, make sure everything's all right. Let's see. All right, let's see. Here we go. Let me check it, make sure everything's all right. Sounds on. Let's see what we got. Got 7 people in the house. They'll be filling up over the next couple of minutes. There we go. I'm looking at a shaman. I can see one. There you go. Centered. Yeah. That's a good mudra. Yeah.
Well, sure.
Yeah. So, all right, we got 15 people in the house. It's filling up pretty quick. This is our first Soul Speaks 5D of the weekend. We're going to have some more shows, but it's a great pleasure to and an honor to share space with this gentleman today, this divine masculine warrior who's been out there for a long time, for what I understand and what I can see. We're going to find out a little bit. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Todd Medina. This is the SOULG Network. This is our show, Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with Nicky Hamid today. Thank you for honoring us with your presence and sharing space with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure. Pleasure to be with you, and pleasure to be with us all in this great quantum field of love.
Isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's moving like a freight train. It's moving fast and fast and fast.
Yeah. I believe you. Well, I know you had Audrey Light Language on a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, and you want someone who moves at speed.
Yeah.
He's the one.
Yeah. We've had quite a few really incredible episodes with light language. Grace Solaris almost ascended before our eyes in that one. Romeo Barron, Amanda Lawrence, Unity Grace, Audrey Light Language. We've had quite a few episodes where this has been occurring over the last 2 or 3 weeks. A lot of congruency, as much as the extremes are playing out. Also, the unseen hand of providence that we all share is playing out. So I feel like the timing of this is very good. There's no coincidences. And I guess, you know, I look at you and I wonder, and I ask everybody this, but I look at you and it seems like you've been plugged in for a long time. When did you wake up, or were you just born that way?
Well, I could say I was born that way. I mean, probably the thing that makes me where all our paths are different, all of them are unique, all of them are special. But I never actually ever was not awake, really. I never lost my connection. Of course, I lose it in, you know, through getting involved in 3D. But every night I came back to myself as long as I can remember. And I was fortunate enough to have parents who were very open, and my mother, who was so well steeped in metaphysics and the larger perspective. So from a very young boy, I was so interested in that and always allowed to be who I was. So it was only going to school where I began to have to fight my way through. So yes, the short answer is yes, I've fallen asleep and woken up regularly.
Yeah, great answer. So did you go through anything in recent years like a lot of us did, where, you know, around 2012, 2011, and any major breakthroughs there where you just couldn't look back anymore?
Yeah, my major breakthrough was in 1984.
Wow.
Yeah. I had the Kundalini raising and went right out of my body, and for 6 months I was trying to get back in the game. I was out of touch. but my body was burning up, and I had to, and that was my major focus. But I was teaching at university at the same time, so I had to try and bring. It was the only way I could bring myself into my mind, because can you imagine for 6 months not having a mental mind, not being having great difficulty focusing. For example, I would try and do a crossword puzzle. A crossword puzzle helped me focus, on the word.
Yeah.
But I'd focus on the word, and I'd come to think of a clue, and I'd forget the word. That's how little mind I had. It was like a goldfish, but with awareness, right out awareness. And so my whole 6 months was focused on grounding and hooking onto my mental mind. So that was the speciality of my journey. Well, that was awakening, and I knew who I was, what I belonged to, and the enormity of who we are.
Yeah, I want to expand on that a little bit. I just want to bring something up because I've never thought about this before, but I had a very similar experience, but I didn't react the way you did, or I wasn't aligned the way you were at the time. But a couple of things jump out. One is I had a Kundalini experience, the first one that fully went out of my body, which would have been probably 25 years ago. And I went to Tina Rose. She had her experience in '92. Some of the others in the late '90s. What's it looking like to you out there after all these years of watching this and being aware of knowing what's real?
Well, there's an even earlier experience which is very vital to what people are going through now, and the ascension, or I call it descension, because it's soul.
Descension.
It's soul coming into body, and the only most people are out of their body. And they're wanting to go further out when they're to come further in. That's why people have so much trouble grounding. But grounding is so critical, and it's grounding in your body, not just grounding to earth. You ground in your body first, in your heart. You come down here, and what happens is that from birth, every one of us experiences a trauma. It might be a sudden noise or the cot shaking, and we go into terror. If you've ever seen a baby in terror, you know what it's like. It's a shaking and gasping, and then a scream. And we've all done that. And what happens is amygdala is fired in the center of the brain. And so now you have this flight response we all know. But it never goes away. So even with people, I've met so many people and worked with so many people who meditate and have lived, gone a spiritual path, gone to India or wherever, and who meditate, but they get to a point where body suddenly goes into fear. And they know that place of stillness. They know that place of peace. They know they have experienced, the beauties and the glimpses of what meditation brings, but they go into fear. And that's amygdala firing, because the body is afraid of receiving the soul. And obviously, we've had centuries and centuries of wounding.
Yeah.
And so it's triggered. The amygdala is still being triggered. So I have a process, I call it the makeover process. It's very simple. But by and large, it's about grounding in the body. Being happy here. Because while you're going out and you're wanting to reach the stars and talk to star beings or the elementals or whatever, you're out of your body. And it has to be done because ascension is soul and body as one.
Would it be safe to say that if we pull the soul into the body, the galactic, the angelics, the elementals, everything will come to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I know what you mean when you say it, but the phraseology, pull the soul into the body, is not like that. It's so simple, and it's the simplicity of it, which we find difficult because we get in our own way. It is in the allowing. It is in the allowing. It's in the being. It's in the loving itself and loving the body and loving everything that you are. We find it much easier to love other people often, even though some of them are cruds or acting like cruds, than we do to acknowledge and allow everything that we've been and we are and we can think of as beautiful expression.
Yeah.
Of
I
God,
agree.
of God
I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree with you. Hashtag human is the hero. I believe that. I mean, why would we have 99% of our time with this small fragment of our consciousness aware, all this time? That's the importance of it all. I love what you say. My partner says embody. She doesn't do what she's here to do until she embodies each thing that she's taught or whatever. But I love your explanation, because it's like we spend all this time, and you hear light workers, starseeds saying, "Beam me up, Scotty, come get me." But the reality is that the heaven's right here. We are that heaven, and I love the way you put that. So, how does your process work? Would you share that, or is that something you do in private sessions?
My process. I don't have a process.
You don't have a process. Just be.
Life is a process. But I'm not being just facetious. One thing I wanted to say earlier, which I probably haven't spoken about much publicly, but I think it's kind of relevant to what you're talking about, and that is, when I was very young, as a teenager, my mother and I used to have these conversations. I was dyslexic. I was unread. Both my parents were very well read. So I could use Mum as a encyclopedia because she was so knowledgeable on metaphysics. So we used to talk about things. But that used to give me visions. And I had a vision when I was 18-year-old, and I saw the future, and I saw what people are going through now and where we were going. I saw where we were going. And whether it's true or not, but to me, it's a knowing. It's a knowing. So everything I've seen since, if you like, my Kundalini raising, everything I see on this planet is working out for the greatest good for us all.
Yeah.
It is. And so you stop worrying. You stop taking notice of the triggers of the fear, because you know it's all working out. And every single being is a point of light within the mind of God. And we're on our own unique journey as fractals of the whole. And so it's good to be an individual. It's good to be you, and to believe in what you see and what you know, and explore it just for the hell of it, just for the fun of it. I have a song. Could I sing it?
Yes.
You probably know this. Ooh, life's a play. Whatever comes along, well, it's okay. Walk with wings and fly with feet, and drop your mind in total defeat. Nothing makes sense. No, nothing makes sense. And I ain't going nowhere. Home is here.
Yeah.
Home is here. It's in the heart. That's where you find home. And as you go into the point, you see the whole. You'll see the star beings. You'll see everything from this point where love knows. And that is you. And it's so simple. Boy,
That's
boy,
golden.
Complex.
That's what when I first started writing a few years ago, I used to always get this one in my head. It was the human finite complication, versus the beautiful infinite simplicity of the universe, of what, like you said, it's not a process, like to ground the soul. It's being, right? There is no instruction really. There's things that can get you there, but yeah.
Even when I did my PhD and I was doing research, and figures and statistics and all the rest of it. And people would ask me after I finished my PhD, and I did very, very well. People would ask me afterwards, what did you learn? What did you find out? And I just, all I could say is, I just know there's more questions to answer. As you go into something that expands.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why I love mandalas so much.
Mandalas?
Mandalas. I've written a book on it and so on. But
really?
Not mandalas, because mandalas, when you look into a mandala, you see it either draws you into the center or you feel this expansion out. And those are the two.
Yeah,
these are the two movements. They're the two movements of our torus field, and they're operating simultaneously. There's the movement into the center towards the one, and the movement out towards the all. And they are synchronous. No, they're not synchronous. They are
symmetrical.
They are simultaneous. So the energy in and out, the flow of the breath is coming in and out at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're both occupying the same space.
It's kind of like stepping into a fear and getting the epiphany at the same time.
Yeah.
It hurts and it feels wonderful all at the same time. No, I didn't know you'd done a book on mandalas. My partner, she does a lot of mandalas, whatever they're called. And one of the things that she does with them is, as these energies come in, and if, let's say, for the lack of a better way to explain it, the brain doesn't understand everything, she does them and the colors come to her, and basically she receives the code, whatever you want to call it, the download that way. But I've seen the power of them, and they're extremely powerful. As so much sacred geometry and off-planet geometry is showing up, the lights, the colors, the sounds, stuff like that. How long have you been working with mandalas?
Well, all my work, if you like my play, all that I do is focused on empowering others. Because humans are so amazing.
Yeah.
And I just love people so much, their joy is my joy. So to attain my joy, if you like, empowering others. And so after writing my first book, I wanted to, I asked within to my entourage, I call them entourage, but they are part of me. So it's a we of me. I asked my entourage for some clues or guidelines, because I wanted to write something whereby people could heal themselves and it cost them nothing.
Yeah.
And so a long story came to the production of my book called Quantum Self-Healing, The Power of Mandalas, of Coloring Mandalas. And the procedure I was shown was just coloring them. And you activate your own DNA.
Wow. Yeah.
You activate your own DNA by choosing from a range of mandalas, mandala that you're drawn to in that moment, and following the colors, and it activates something in them. Yeah. And I discovered that there was a process, if you like, that if you did a sequence of 64 of these, that was a completion. It related to the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. It related to the 64 codons in the DNA. And that came about just by accident, a discovery by me putting through myself through the process. And I was
There's no accidents. That wasn't an accident.
And I was put through the process because I think you said your partner had said that you can't copy other people's techniques. You can't copy. You can only teach from your own experience and knowing, capital N, knowing.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I agree. These mandalas are fascinating. You know, my partner Morgan, she's got a funny story. She did a set last year of like 12, and so she took them to a guy, I guess like a printer, to get them put on, you know, and whatever. And so when she went in there, I think he was saying to her, "What are these things? And you know, what do you want to do with them?" And he was kind of reluctant, I guess, but he went ahead and printed them and she had a hard time getting them back because he put them up on the wall. He said, "Lady, I don't know what these things are, but I can't stop looking at them."
Yeah, and the great thing is that the mandalas, I mean, they're another form of light language. That's what they are.
Yeah.
And the great thing about mandalas is they appeal to a lot of the males, not just males. But they do something, a memory for the masculine energy. And we need more things for the masculine energy. Sacred geometry, mandalas, and numbers, and glyphs, those especially appeal to the male psyche for some reason or other.
Wow.
And so they're a good way of anybody but getting engaged in light language, because I believe it's something we're all coming to. We're seeing a burgeoning of light language right across.
Yes, we are.
At all levels, and everybody should try, even if it's just singing. And dancing. That's light language, because light language is a movement too. On cycle, see, we can expand, can't we?
Yeah, it's expanding rapidly. Those glyphs are expanding rapidly. People drawing off what I call, Rebecca Williams is on here. She was on a couple nights ago. She started drawing what I call off-planet sacred geometry. I don't know what it is, right? And I know a few people like that. We try to.
Everybody should try it. I suggest everyone should try it because it will open you up. It'll open you up to dimensions beyond the mental mind.
So beyond. Beyond
go to people who are speaking it, drawing it, dancing it, and participate at your own level, in private if you like first, and then share it, and you'll be surprised. The gifts are ready for everyone to pick up.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, somebody wrote today to the SoulogyOneStudios mailbox, and they said, "What did they say?" They said, "How do you practice Soulogy?" And I said, "Just shine your light." There's no doctrine, there's no dogma. It's just an energy it's a name for an energy that we all are. That's all. But to your point, so much of this stuff, like through mandalas, light language, we receive those codes. Align our DNA, whatever you want to call it, without the normal 3D instruction, you know, verbal instruction, course type instruction, or sitting at the feet of a yogi. We're all yogis.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, and it's the greatest difficulty with this is that people have to get over their self-doubts. So it's doing a good thing in that way. Even if you are speaking what you call gibberish to yourself out in nature. Nature doesn't judge you anyway.
Right, exactly right.
You have to try it, and it's not about meaning; it's about feeling.
Yeah, that's what I that's what I always say, and that's what I've seen Soulogy do, is just people just coming in there and getting past that point of embarrassment. I often say, when I put myself out there, I would say, I am soul, just another way of saying I'm not afraid to show my ass, you know, because like you said, nature doesn't, it's just, and that's the beautiful thing about it, is you see these people. I'm able to see it. I'm blessed to be able to be part of this network and see people literally come out on screen, transform on screen. And what I think we're all beginning to realize, whether we're doing shadow work or these type of expressions beyond the verbal or traditional, is that we not only activate ourselves, but we activate people, and people activate us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have memory of childhood, so so I remember what I liked doing, and I still do it. Much to other people's annoyance sometimes. But we have, I wanted to speak to people who are rather analytical but want to be in tune with their heart and their feeling a bit more. Try something like, I guarantee that almost every one of those people enjoyed playing with their compass when they were young, drawing circles, drawing the flower of life, the set square and halving it, and playing with angles and drawing things.
Yeah.
Well, there's a guy, I think his name is Jeff, G-E. Oh no, I'll have to give it to you. He has for years has taken the crop circles and has worked out the geometry of them and how to construct them through using compass and set square. All those beautiful crop circles. And I challenge anyone to follow his instructions and draw one of those and not be affected in the drawing of it.
Yeah.
It goes deep.
That's a really
expansion. So those who are analytically minded and like detail will try that, or try constructing it yourself.
Yeah.
A crop circle with a compass and set square.
Oh, I believe you. My very good friend Ryan Aguilar, that post that you put on your page, which I try to transfer to my page, but all the words went away. But that picture, the cover photo on my page, that was made by Ryan. Now he's been doing this sacred geometry for about a year, and the expansion of that has just been incredible. And his growth, because I've known him personally, has been incredible. Which obviously that's a big part of it.
He would love this guy. I think it's called Jeff Diamond. Demon or something like that. He's Scandinavian, I think, but he's been drawing crop circles for years. I don't know whether he still does it, but it blows your mind if you're willing to just follow his instruction. And it's the same with coloring mandalas. We've got to do something, not just, oh, that's nice, but engaging with it.
Yeah, playing with it, playing with the energy. Physically materializing the energy. My daughter and I spent the last couple of days together, and she was showing me some pictures this morning of. She said, "I've got this friend of mine, and he's not from here." Now she's 21, 22 years old, and she said he's like galactic or ET or something, and he does this stuff, and it looks like, I'm going to get some pictures of it and share it, but it looks like a cross between maybe some sacred geometry, some written light language, and some far out off universe galactic stuff like I've never seen. It's incredible with all these symbols and different angles and arcs and just and then overall looking at it, very, very incredible. More and more of this stuff needs to come out. There's no doubt, because people can just look at it, not even know what they're looking at, not even realize they're getting activated.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Yeah. I think numbers are another thing. Now, numbers are something that most kids who who enjoyed maths when they first have it like to play with, the numbers 1 to 9 and the magic patterns that used to come out when you did your times table. And I used to play that. I used to get into trouble because as soon as I'd play with those numbers when I was supposed to be doing something else. But, and people more and more people are seeing number sequences come up. I don't mean just the 11 and so on, but other sequences. That's something that Audrey does. She provides people with a set of codes. And
yes,
I've experienced them, and they are amazing.
Really? Yeah.
They are amazing. It's like a brand new set.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that was interesting.
When you read those numbers, when you read your numbers out, it's like a wiping of the slate.
She
in front of you, so everything's fresh and new.
Yeah. She did some of that at the end of the show we did. We're going to do another one here pretty soon. I need to contact her, but she explained it. But she went through a lot of stuff. She went through about 8 different light languages, but she did explain how she did it with the numbers, and you've kind of connected some dots for me. But that sounds pretty impressive. I mean, that sounds pretty powerful.
Just go back to writing out the times table and see how you immediately start to go look for the patterns.
Yeah.
We all did it when we were young. And it's rekindles, that these numbers are a living language, not just, symbols and counting. They're much, much more. So I get
absolutely
excited.
Now,
I see the potentiality for people expanding with these things. Anyway.
Yeah. So that's some great stuff. Never talked about this in depth on the show before. I tell you one thing we do talk about too. It seems to be on every show is the current energies. There seems to be, of course, there's eclipses and new moons and this and that, and solstices and all that. They're almost becoming irrelevant because this stuff's just happening every day. But you're seeing a lot of extremes. Behaviors, people projecting, spinning out, whatever you want to call it. It's interesting to watch that people talk about the Great Divide. Have you heard of that term?
Yes. No, I thought that was a place in the States. The Great Divide was a place in the States. The pioneers.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only Great Divide I know.
Yeah, there is one. You're right about that. I think people are what they've referred to as this great divide between, I don't know, a truth vibration and what is not. I mean, I don't know. To me, it just, I don't know. It just seems to be getting more and more intense. People seem to be elevating collectively, more elevation, regardless of what you're seeing, on the personal fronts. Like you said earlier, sometimes some people are what? You said some people are just not nice or something like that. What would you recommend to people who are trying to go through this thing and make this transition with ease and grace? How do you handle that type of stuff?
Well, first of all, I mean, you think of your country and how people get so upset about Trump. And what's happening and what Trump is doing, and the world seems to focus on Trump. But you could view him as a divine clown. As a divine clown that he's raising up the energy. People are having to not just take a side, but question themselves because things don't seem right. And so it's waking up people. The waves that you're talking about, the cosmic waves, for me, over the period of time, I just see this as the energies of love. And the energies of love require waking up.
Yeah.
And they affect people in different ways. And what people go through are identity crisis, you know. Who am I? What am I doing? I can't hold on to the past. You know, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. And instead of nothing makes sense, yeah, hey, I'm on the way. It's nothing makes. What am I going to do? What am I going to hold on to? You know, and so they're looking for something outside themselves, the star people or the elementals or whatever. That's not to say they're not part of the contact, but the contact is within. And it's all about us facing us.
Yeah,
it's all
exactly.
Embracing us, not out there, because the out there is in here.
Yeah, it's never them, it's always me.
Yeah, so what's my answer? Go to your heart, hand on heart, take a breath.
Yeah.
Sit for a moment. I am that I am, and thou art that.
Yeah,
thank you. That's all. And more, 100 times a day, if that's the way. It's commitment. And it's not a commitment, it's a commitment.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle.
So it's what you don't want you spread out, way, and what you want you bring to the heart.
Yeah.
There's what we say a mood or movement. It's like language because our hands create. The energy of love pours through your hands. Put your hand on a glass and think of how amazing water is. I so love you and honor you. And then you drink it and it's sweeter. When you do that, it's sweeter. It's your love.
Yeah. Alchemy.
It is alchemy. We do it. You can make a mandala.
Yeah.
Put it in what they call it. They put the plastic coating on it, and then use it as a mat for your water, and you activate your water. You don't need to buy special water.
Yeah, that's right.
Water, but stick it on your mandala.
Yeah, just alchemize it, right? I know a lot of my friends have fits because I tell them when I was on the streets when I woke up for a couple of years, I didn't have much money, so I used to go to McDonald's, and I'd eat for $4 or $5. I could eat a couple little hamburgers, French fries, and a coffee. And they'd say, "How can you do that? How can you do that?" You know, and I'd say to myself, "I'm alchemizing this stuff. I'm thankful for eating this stuff. I don't care what it's made of. I'll convert it, whatever it is." And I still do that. I'll go to McDonald's every now and then, just get a $1 hamburger just to remind myself and actually ground myself, take myself back to that point of magic, you know?
Yes, I have actually advised somebody in the past who's been, eating rabbit food, I call it. Not to put it down, but, we'll put it in a place when that's all they're eating. And they're as pale as anything, a week. And I said, go out and eat a McDonald's and ground yourself, eh? And your kids.
Yeah.
Because we bless our food.
Yeah. It's all the same energy. It's all the same energy. It's just like you said, if you look at the glass, and say, "Oh my God, this came out of the tap in America," I mean, it's probably full of fluoride. Or you look at it and say, "I'm thankful for this water," and it's all the same energy, you know.
Yes, you can ask the body to take what it needs and discard what it doesn't. And it will. Of course, when we have choice, we make choices, but sometimes, there's not the choice.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you got to get 2 apple pies for $1.
Absolutely. And to feel guilty about it, or there's so much spirituality and idealism still.
Yeah.
I believe. I see it. Because I see who people are and they're showing what they are. And I see how much weight they put on themselves.
Yeah.
It's called light worker. for heaven's sake. Lighten up.
Lighten up.
Some people are so heavenly bound, they're no earthly use.
Yeah. I did a meme today. It's not the red pill or the blue pill. It's the rainbow colored chill pill. Everybody chill out. You know?
Yeah, I did a posting last week on somebody had talked about Dramamine.
Yeah.
The pill, Dramamine.
Yeah, for motion sickness.
No. They'd spelt it drama.
Oh, Dramamine.
And take the pill. Take the pill, Dramamine. You know, and have, enjoy it. I thought that was really good.
Well, you know, there is a lot of power in that too, because I was shown about a year and a half, 2 years ago, a couple of weeks, I went through all this stuff about language and how everything's coded. So you can bend a word a little bit or change the accent, and it becomes a totally different meaning, like Dramamine, you know, versus Dramamine. But yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. Yeah.
I'd like to say something, seeing we've got an audience, if I may. And that's
absolutely
that's about what came to mind and has come to mind again about what they call first waivers. First waivers go way back to the 50s and 60s, who are all following on Facebook and all often behind the scenes. But they have been here for a long, long time, and they have held the light.
Yeah.
And they've come from Orthodox Christianity and all walks of life, and they've been through what everyone else has been through. But without the backup, if you like, or the sharing that we now have, we're very fortunate to have, and is making a huge difference. Yes. So I would like people to spare a thought for those older ones. We have them on the wall who don't say a great deal, but are there and often still suffering in their body because of the long-term effects of being through this. But they have walked the walk, and they're ascending like all of us.
Yes.
And I want to remind them and thank them. Yes. I want to thank all you golden oldies who are not holding, to realize that it's time for youthing now, and it's your time. And you, we so honor you because we're all playing a part. You've been holding all this time, and it's still vitally important for us all.
Yeah.
And I both thank you with all my heart. Thanks, Todd, for letting me do that.
Thank you for saying that and speaking what we needed to hear. You know, you're right about that. There's a lot of people I've met, especially over the last couple of years doing these shows, but not so much on the shows. There's been some, like people like you're talking about, the beginning to step forward in a environment of support and expand their throat chakra. But the other things I've noticed is there's people who are part of this energy, just as important, that come to the shows, give us their love and support, highest intentions, and they make these incredible comments. And I'll chase them down and say, hey, you want to go on and do a show? And they're like, no. This is my role. You know, my role is this. It's always been this. And they are 50s and 60s born, you know, many.
Yes. Yeah. There are a number of people who are in their 80s who are still every day honoring the light.
Yeah.
And offering it for all humanity. And they continue to do it in their own way. Yeah. And it is such great service. You know, there's no service that's greater than any other anyway.
No, but it's been a hell of a long trip. A lot of people are tired. But yeah, they definitely deserve their due, because I mean, even if you look back I was born in 61, and I remember the worldwide collective energy in the late 60s. And my theory is that those first wavers really pushed that, just by their light wanting to achieve the idealism and sovereignty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the time wasn't right. The time wasn't right, I guess. And but they definitely they broke the doors down. They broke the doors down, and there's many of them still here. So yes, many elders walking among us.
Yeah, we saw the great promise in the time of flower power, the great promise, but it just wasn't ready, and the communes didn't really work. But what is going to work now is community. The communities we're beginning to see, and they're not necessarily living in proximity, but they will be.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. There seems to be also what seems to be happening too is a lot of people are making physical connections after having been, in this the highest physical manifestation of the ethers, which is the internet. After having developed relationships, developing networks, more and more people are coming together. That's a powerful thing. I can speak to that in my travels. It's very interesting to be sharing space with someone and adding that physical aspect to it. Things don't even have to be said. Things just happen. I mean, things just happen. So we're headed into more and more expansive times, obviously.
Yeah. And there is a thing that I've been looking at closer and closer, and this is the money thing, because so many are struggling at the moment, and I think that we do find it hard because of the journey we've been on recently, and people have been on recently, to see money in a different way.
Yeah.
And I heard something which really has stuck, and that is that money is divine love in action.
Yeah.
And to examine how you in your head won't allow that to be an affirmation and a knowing in yourself, because we are masters, and we're becoming to master everything, and that is a gift, a gift. But
that's a great point.
It's a gift of love. So how to bring, if you like, question to ourselves, how to bring that knowing to every touch of money and thought of money I have, that it is divine love.
Yeah.
So that you can write to you can give to the tax department if you're that level. You can pay the tax department and see it as a divine gift to the collective.
Yeah, or I could donate it to somebody else and feel good about it. I'm kidding. But
because a lot of
but you bring up a great point. Unity Grace and I, on the shows we've been doing recently, she brought up the word superabundance. And like a lot of light workers, I've been on this path quite some time doing my work and have been living hand to mouth, But something started to change a couple of 2-3 months ago. And I'll give you an example. Maybe you can add to it. Over the past week, as things started to dip down again, and I thought, am I going back into this vibration of really struggling? And I woke up one morning and I had a little bit of fear. It was about 3 or 4 days ago. And I said to myself, wait a minute. You got 3-4 days in a hotel. You got food. You got a couple hundred backup, whatever. And just know that everything you have, you need, and go forth with your work. And the key word that came in with what you're talking about, heart. Just keep putting your heart out there. Well, later that day, superabundance poured in and gave me the confirmation and the validation that this is the way to go. It's not going to be how much money you have in the bank. It's going to be this knowing that everything you need is there for you. Like the adepts, living like the adepts, but at a different level, at a quantum level, which is a word you brought up at the beginning of the show. And that's important.
Yes.
That quantum aspect is important.
Yeah. And that comes from you loving who you are and loving what you are responsible for, and the expansion of that, it becomes abundant. You will not it's not just abundance getting what you need, but it's abundance there being available more than you need.
Yeah.
That's abundance. It's where it's limitless, where it's limitless. But we see money and feel money in with grace and ease.
Yes. It's like the water. What's the difference between the money and the water? There is no difference. We can do this.
And people hope for the time when we don't use money. And I don't think it makes so much sense to me to suddenly have a solution done. I think the sense to me is us having mastered it, having embraced it so completely that none of us need it.
Yes. So it's not that it, in other words, that, we master that because you can't divorce yourself from anything the universe has created. You know, that's the message I've gotten for 7 years is just keep adding whatever it is, a show, a piece of art, a poem, a challenge or an obstacle. Just keep adding more frequencies to an ever expanding vibration. You can't divorce yourself from anything. That's in the human terms, resistance, you know. But I think people are starting to get past that.
Yes, and to enjoy what you do and stop living up to other people's, what's spiritually correct and so on. Sometimes it's
See, this is what I love because the thing is, look, all of us put these things out like your mandalas and like we were talking about, and whatever transmissions, channelings, downloads we get, they're meant for us first. I mean, and we all want to do our work and put it out there and all that, but the most important communication we get from the universe is what comes out of our mouth. And I always look at, okay, am I leading with they do this or you do that, or am I looking at me? It's a lot better. It's a lot better if you're going to be deprecating, to be self-deprecating, than to be taking away from the energy of others, because you're really just taking your own away.
Yeah. I see that. You've got to use words. I use mentor, but as a mentor, I'm there really not to show them that I've got the answers, but to show people they've got the answers and where they can go for them, and where they can go for them. And that's all. And modalities and techniques and so on are just your variety of gift.
Yes. You still there, or did you freeze up?
No,
you're good. You're good.
No. I just faded. My beloved tells me not to fade. I fade, I go into quietness.
Don't do it. Well, if you want to do that, let's try to do it like we did with Grace Solaris. We didn't even know that was going to happen. But I figure if anybody's going to disappear on this show, it's probably going to be you, from what I understand. And now that I've met you.
Okay. Would you like a little thing to end?
Yes.
Okay.
Be honored to.
Oh, thank you. Well, just close your eyes and take a breath. Slow, gentle, and deep. And as you breathe, just imagine that light, air, energy is coming into your heart from all directions around you. The breath is flowing in and out. And the energy, the air, the life, the light is being drawn into the center of your heart, your chest, and flows out again. And each time it flows out, you feel bigger And each time it flows in, you feel more centered. Gently in and out. In and out. Now as you breathe, you feel that air, that energy, that light, whatever, however you experience it, coming in through the top of your head and down to the center, your heart. And up from the ground, through the base of your spine, into that center.
Mm.
Now open your eyes, look in front of you, and just feel that. It's like all the energy's coming in, everything's coming into your center, and then gently flowing out again in all directions. And where are we going? We're simply becoming more and more and more precious souls.
Wow.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, brother. If you would, send me the link to your book so I can put it out in our network.
Okay, sure. It is on my website.
I'd love to get together with you again sometime. Now that we got the time thing worked out.
for sure.
I was panicking this morning because I did it 2 hours off, and I thought, oh my God,
all right,
it's not going to work. Then I thought, well, wait a minute, just relax. It's all going to be okay. Superabundance comes in many forms, including divine timing.
I gave you my website, and my books are on the website.
Yeah, actually, when you sent me the message, it said for your information, but whatever you sent didn't come. I was wondering what that was. Okay. I do that all the time. The 3D motions and actions are very difficult. I can't do them.
My website is simply www.nickyhamid.com.
Okay.
Nicky Hamid. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do it again sometime. I loved it. I really, really loved it. It's an honor to share space with you. I look forward to doing this again soon sometime.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
And with everyone.
Peace out, Nicky.
Thank you. God bless.
Take care, brother. All right. Thank you.